This will be my story. Hello, I'm Elizabeth, and today I'm coming with kind of personal story. No music like I usually do, but I decided to share my story after watching a load of other videos about people with AVNRT or other SVTs. So I'd like to share my experience. I've been coping with it because I haven't found anyone who has dealt with it the same way I have. So perhaps you have, you can relate or not. Maybe I'm just weird, strange, or whatever. So before I go into how I got diagnosed, I'm gonna give an overview of my medical history, because it might not be related, but it does affect the way I deal with it now because of what happened in the past. So that's why I'll share that as well. I have my notebook here. Oops. Yeah, with my notes and stuff. So I hope I don't ramble too much or get off topic too much. So I'm currently 26 years old, and as a kid I was just a regular kid, I guess, not overweight. I had asthma though, and I had to take medicine 3 times a day, but I grew out of it, so that was all fine. At the age of 14, however, I noticed my eyesight got really bad, so I started wearing glasses, and I changed my diet to I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but pescatarian diet. But I hardly ate fish, and then also enter the fruit allergies or oral allergy syndrome, as the group is like how it's known. So I couldn't eat fresh fruits. I ate loads of vegetables though, but I still got anemia. So I had to take iron supplements, and yeah. I also had dreadlocks like 6 years ago, but I began having scalp issues, and the doctor still doesn't know what it is, but it got to a point that was so severe that I couldn't like deal with it. So I combed out my dreadlocks. So I took so many medication for that, antibiotic, and then eventually they got me on Roaccutane, which is basically like radiation in the form of a pill or something. If you have a choice and you have like other options, I suggest you don't take it. Still have like side effects, lasting side effects from the medication, but that's a whole different story. So every time I got ill, I took medication, but I always had side effects, like all of the side effects, like always. I never didn't have side effects. So every time I had a drug, I had like the itchy, I got rashes, I got muscle pain. I just got all the stuff listed, you know. So when I got a new drug, first thing I would do, look up the symptoms, look up the side effects, and know what to expect. People keep telling me like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But if you know your body and you know how it reacts, my body's just messed up apparently. Okay, let's go back to the Roaccutane. One of the side effects was like extreme muscle fever. I couldn't work out whatsoever. Even walking would like leave my body in pain. But I had like really, really bad chest pain, and I just stopped with the medication for a week or so, and I told the doctor, but he told me there's like no cases that it your heart, you know? And it's like, it doesn't do anything to your heart, you know? So it's up to you if you want to take it or not. Being as desperate as I was, and I really just, that this was basically the only medication I could, only option I had left, because all of the other medicine just failed. They would work for 1 or 2 weeks and then my symptoms would just come back. So I tried the Roaccutane again. Mind you, I was on the lowest dose. Still, I had so many side effects. So I think in total I took it for half a year, maybe less. But it worked for maybe 2 years, and then my symptoms started coming back slowly. Not as severe as at first, but I'm still upset that I took such an extreme drug and it didn't get rid of whatever is causing these symptoms I have. So I don't know if that's related to my heart condition, but that's when the chest pain started. After I quit Roaccutane, I could finally start working out again after maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So I started running a lot, and I did a Nike training program. I was training for a 5K, so I was running 3-4 times a week. And as the weeks went on, I was running almost 5 days a week ever. So I was like, I got exhausted, but I just kept on going because I thought yeah, you should have gave up, you know? Just maybe you feel tired, but just keep on going. But I'm like, okay, my heart is really going fast. So eventually I bought a heart monitor, the one you wear around your chest with a watch. Wow, my mind. So then I saw that my heartbeat was going way too high, over the 200, near the 200. So I was like, I don't think this is right. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, we'll check your iron levels. And because ever since I cut out meat from my diet, my iron levels were horribly low. Even though I tried to eat well, but yeah, I didn't really. I tried. I ate lots of vegetables, but it still didn't help. So that's the first thing they said. And 2 or 3 years ago, I also had an ECG made, but they couldn't find anything because I had complaints back then as well. Maybe it was, I think this was before the Roaccutane. I'm not sure. But I remember they made a heart, they made the heart film, but they couldn't find anything. So I don't know if I've had it for that long already, or if it's just something I've been having for 2 years or longer. So it could be 3 years or 2 years. I think 2 years for sure. But anyway, they drew my blood, checked the iron levels was too low. I got given the iron pills, but I didn't really felt like they helped. So then I started getting heartburn. It got so severe that I really thought I was having a heart attack or something. And this kept happening in the night, in the weekend. So my primary doctor was unavailable. So I would end up going to the hospital, and they would check me out, but they were like, yeah, you're fine. There is nothing wrong with you're too young for something to be wrong with your heart. What they said countless times. I'm like, but there's something wrong. Why do I have this much pain? So the second time I went to the hospital after another episode, the doctor told me it's your stomach. So I was like, that doesn't make sense, but it was my stomach. So I got a drug for that. The drug worked, but the drug gave me a headache, which gave me the headache was almost worse or even worse than the pain the heartburn was giving me. So I stopped with the medication. Side effect, yeah. So then I tried avoiding lemon, tomatoes, things which would like cause heartburn, but it kept coming back, and then it would go and then it came back. But I kept going back to the doctor as well because I kept working out. I always bike to work. I had 2 jobs at that time, and I lived about 6 kilometers from my job where I worked most, and 10 kilometers from the other job. No, even more than 10, because we recently moved location, but back then it was maybe 12 kilometers. But so I always went on the bike unless the weather was really bad, but I would always bike. But I've noticed that I got so tired, and walking the stairs would just elevate my heart rate to like 160. Just walking the stairs. Getting dressed would be considered as a whole workout according to my heart. So I went back to the doctor and I was like, there's really something wrong because my heart rate keeps going up, and can you give me a test? And she was like, this was the doctor I didn't like. This was like a student doctor, because I didn't see my own doctor because he always has student doctors. So he usually has 2 or 3 student doctors at the same time. I didn't like this one because she's not very nice. I don't think she's very nice. I don't think she really listens to you, but whatever. So she was like, yeah, maybe you're just not fit enough. And I was like, I've been like running for maybe a year and a half, and I tell you my heart rate is going over 200, like over 150 when I basically do nothing, and you're telling me I'm not fit enough. That she didn't even think of, maybe there's something wrong with you after all. So I was back in tears, because you go to a doctor and you think they're gonna like help you, but they basically don't. Because they just basically, you start thinking you're like really a hypochondriac or something, like you're making stuff up because you keep complaining and you seem fit, you look fit, but no one knows how much you're actually struggling, or like how much pain you actually have, or how scared you are when you're like trying to sleep and your heart is hurting, or you're walking up the stairs and your heart is racing. Like, what if it will just stop? Who will find you? Before someone finds you, you're dead, Anyway, so I went back for a 3rd time to complain about my heart. This time I brought my sister because I really couldn't take no for an answer. It was interfering with my work, because I worked in a restaurant, so you have to work fast paced, we work long hours, and it was really bad to keep up with it. So the doctor gave me a Holter monitor, and she was like, so she explained it. Then I had to go back maybe a few days later, and then they gave it to me, and we installed it and called the office and blah blah blah. So I had it for a week or so, and then I went running, because then it would be the most extreme, and I recorded the event. So then I think the next day they already called me back and they were like, yeah, we have the results, blah blah blah. You need beta blockers like right now. I was like, oh, now all of a sudden when you have like physical like evidence something is wrong, you can believe me, So I was kind of upset. By the way, another doctor, this one I did like, another doctor gave me the Holter monitor because I was already done with the other one. I got beta blockers and they work perfectly, but they work too well because when I'm like sitting still, my heart rate is quite low itself, and it would lower it so much that I would just pass out. So they were like, the dose was too strong, or I should just not even take beta blockers, because they're just, my body just can't handle it. So then I got referred to a cardiologist, and that, I think I had to wait like a month or so, or two or 3 weeks, or a month, almost a month. And on my mom's birthday in December 17th, we went and they did like a stress test where you have to bike, an ECG, and something else. And then while the lady was making an echo, she was like telling me like, you're so young to have something wrong with your heart, you know. And I'm like, these people keep telling me that, but if that's the case, then that's the case, you know. Illnesses, they don't discriminate. They don't look like, oh, you're young, we'll skip you, you know. Oh, you're old, you're gonna die anyway, so we won't give you cancer or whatever. You're a man, you're a woman, you know. It doesn't matter. If it just, like, it can happen to anyone. So the doctor said you have a heart arrhythmia. It's atrioventricular nodal re-entry tachycardia, and it's a supraventricular tachycardia, so fast rhythm tachycardia. And basically, to keep it like simple and short, it causes a short circuit, so the electricity just keeps going, and that's why your heart stays at that high level for so long. So I asked him like, what are my options, and he was like, medication or an ablation. So I asked more about what could go wrong. I don't know if it's just me, but maybe most people would ask like, what's the procedure like, what did you do, like, you know. But I just wanted to know what could go wrong and what are the side effects, because I'm always just that person who has side effects and something goes wrong with it. So he was like, yeah, there's a 5% chance something goes wrong, but if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. So you could either die, or you need a pacemaker, or they can't even help you if they decide to, like, the procedure is too dangerous, that they will damage your heart. So I was like, I'll take the medicine. So that is when the hell started. Medicine. At first, I told him about the beta blockers, and he was like, yeah, you shouldn't be on beta blockers. I think calcium channel blockers are better for you. Okay, I'm not exaggerating, but these pills would have killed me if I would have kept taking them. The side effects were horrible. The beta blockers were bad, but these were, I felt like I had no heartbeat at all. I was so tired. I had no energy whatsoever. I was so mean to everyone around me. So I was like very moody, and you know, when you don't physically look ill, people just think you're fine. Especially when you're like someone who's always worked out and you just look fit, always smiling, you know. But eventually it was just all fake, basically, because you have to go to work, you have to see a zillion people want food, your colleagues, you all have to like pretend nothing's wrong because you don't want to talk about it, because even though you talk about it, there's no one who can help you. So yeah, so the medicine was a huge fail. So the medication, I actually wrote everything down. So I'm gonna rate it because I wrote everything in detail. So, like I said, I can't take beta blockers, so I got prescribed verapamil, which is a calcium channel blocker. And I had by far the worst reaction to this drug than like even compared to the royalty, this one, I feel like it was slowly killing me because it didn't do anything. But the doctor was like, yeah, you should start off with 120 milligrams, and I think after 2 weeks he upped the dose with another 120, so I was on 240. And I think after another 2 weeks he upped it again with 120, so I was on 360, and my heart rate was like low. I felt like a zombie. I could do nothing. So I had tremors, massive headaches, slow heart rate, bradycardia, dizziness, chest pains, chills, shortness of breath, muscle cramping, indigestion. I went to work. I had to quit my job halfway. Like, I had to go home because I was so sick. I physically couldn't even work anymore. I really felt like I would die if I kept taking this drug, so I stopped with the medication. I called my doctor, but I had 6 days until I could see him. And I was really afraid that one of those days I wouldn't wake up, and that because my heart would just stop, because it was just, I felt I had no energy whatsoever. So yeah, after I met him, he was like, okay, I'll give you, he constantly asked me, are you sure you do not want the ablation? Because he told me from the beginning, you're the perfect candidate, you're young, you're fit, other than your heart's messed up, but you're fit, so you'd be the perfect candidate, you know? I was like, no, I don't want it yet, because yeah, in my head everything would go fine, and I would be able to like stretch it until a year. Maybe at the end of this year or beginning next year I would like see if I could have the ablation, but things don't go as you plan. So then I got flecainide and bisoprolol, and these like had red flags all over, but hey, okay. So the doctor always says like AVNRT can't kill you, it's just annoying to live with, but these drugs you get to deal with these arrhythmias are like, they do more damage than your whole condition to begin with, in my opinion. So okay, I started with these two. These two were, I think they were family of beta blockers. They weren't, something like that. I think I read somewhere it's a beta blocker or whatever. So I've noticed, because I wrote everything down, every 3 weeks things would change. So maybe he upped my dose from the verapamil, what was the name? Verapamil, every 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks, because I would be fine for 3 weeks and then it would turn for the worst. So then I had to switch something, I had to stop. But the thing is, every time you switch drugs, your body has to like get the other one out of your system, get used to the new one, and yeah. So the calcium channel blockers didn't do anything. That's why the dose went so high. It didn't do anything to manage my symptoms. It only made me sick. The side effects affected me. My heart rate was still through the roof when it wasn't nearly killing me, you know? So the next drug or drugs were okay, but I had really trouble sleeping. I was very dizzy, especially in the mornings. Then I got vertigo, kind of. It was almost like when my iron levels were low. And at this time I was also driving for my motorcycle license, so I felt unsafe to keep on driving. So I stopped, and then I continued, and then I stopped, and then I continued. So it was very, very frustrating dealing with these drugs. After 3 weeks, muscle fever like Roaccutane gave me. Working out was basically, I couldn't, or I still tried to. I had to bike, but that was still manageable. But if I would go to the gym, I'd be in pain for 2 weeks at least. After 3 weeks or a month, I stopped with the flecainide because he said just stick to the bisoprolol, and that one actually worked the best compared to the rest. And then a month later, this time I lasted a bit longer because it really managed my condition well, but it made my heart rate even lower than the calcium channel blockers. And I've been wearing heart monitor 24/7 since January, I think, so I could see how it would affect my heart rate, and it went down to 38 beats per minute, and I was like, okay, this is like one of these days I'm gonna go to sleep and not wake up anymore. So I decided on my own that I have to dose, because it was written that if you just stop with a medication, you can get a heart attack, because your body is like, hey, where's my medicine, you know, where's my drugs, you've been giving me all these drugs and now you take it away all of a sudden, you know. So I have to dose, and then I just quit, and he was like, you can stop and just get back in touch if there's something wrong, you know. And he signed me up for an ablation, but this will take place at a different hospital. So since then I've been drug free and I've had so much more energy. I still have chest pains though, but energy level is up to 80%, I think. Sometimes 100, but yeah. And that has been almost 2 months, I think. Life has been way better than on medication, but it's getting to the point that everything is becoming a challenge again. Walking the stairs, getting dressed. I'm scheduled for an ablation by the end of the month. So I've known this for almost a month, no, over a month. And the closer we get, the more I don't know what to do, because part of me feels like, what if you do die? What if you are that 5% and that one person who just dies and they can't resuscitate or whatever, you know? So yeah, I would be so pissed off though, but even though you can't even be pissed off because you'd be dead, you know. But yeah, so the other part is like, what if they go in and they're like, oh yeah, we can't fix it because it's too close, I can't take medication, like what am I supposed to do, you know? And then there's another option, and they're like, yeah, your heart rate is too low, and I don't know if the medication caused this, because part of me is like, I have all these chest pains all the time. I don't know if other people have the same, but like the past 2 weeks I almost had it daily. Even breathing hurt, but I don't know if the medicine like causes damage or something, because that was also like one of the side effects, you know. Everything has risks. But what if they're like, hey, you need a pacemaker? I know it's not the end of the world, but still, you know. 26. I'd like to not need a pacemaker to stay alive. To be honest, I haven't actually thought about what if it all goes well and that's that, because I'm never that lucky basically. I always get the short end of the stick, so yeah, I don't know. Is there anyone else out there who have who has had so many troubles with their medication, let me know, please, so I know I'm not the only one.